Zuberi was bound with thick, thorny hemp ropes, his uniform covered in dust, and his face etched with a deep, crushing exhaustion. He had been ambushed by poachers while patrolling the vast savanna, left to the mercy of the elements under the unforgiving heat. Just as a heavy sense of despair began to settle over him, the tall green grass suddenly parted. It was not a predator like a lion or a leopard that emerged, but a gorilla, an animal far removed from its typical, lush mountain habitat. It stood nearly 2 meters tall, a massive wall of rolling muscle covered in sleek jet-black fur. The sight was surreal. A forest giant standing amidst the scattered acacia trees of the open plains. Zuberi held his breath, his heart hammering against his ribs as the golden light of the afternoon caught the silver hair on the back of the great primate. If you believe the bond between humans and animals is deeper than we know, hit that subscribe button for more incredible stories. As the gorilla began to beat its chest and take slow, deliberate steps toward the tree, Zuberi prepared for the worst, entirely unaware that this powerful giant had a plan that would defy everything he knew about nature. The gorilla did not charge with the aggression one might expect from such a formidable creature. Instead, it approached with a calculated, almost rhythmic gait, its knuckles pressing softly into the soil. As it reached the acacia tree where Zuberi sat helpless, the gorilla paused. Its deep amber eyes met Zuberi's. In that intense moment of eye contact, the fear in the ranger's chest began to melt into a confusing sense of recognition. This was not a random meeting. Years ago, in the dense thicket bordering the savanna, Zuberi had spent hours painstakingly cutting away a wire snare from the leg of a young primate. He realized now, looking at the distinct scar on the animal's forearm, that this was the same individual. The roles have been perfectly reversed by the hand of fate. The gorilla did not immediately attempt to break the bonds. Instead, it performed an act of profound empathy. It sat down directly in front of Zuberi, its massive back turned to the ranger. By doing so, it created a living shield, providing a patch of shade that blocked the intense, scorching rays of the sun. Biologists often discuss the mirror neuron theory, suggesting that higher primates can literally feel the physical or emotional distress of another being. This gorilla was demonstrating a level of cognitive awareness that transcended simple instinct. It was acting as a guardian. It stayed remarkably still, its ears twitching at every rustle in the grass. It was a silent vigil, a testament to a memory of kindness that had survived the passage of time. Zuberi felt a strange sense of peace despite his predicament. He was no longer a man waiting to die in the heat. He was a guest under the protection of a king. The heavy scent of the gorilla's fur and the sound of its steady, rhythmic breathing became a source of comfort. However, the fragile peace of the savanna is always under threat, and the scent of a trapped, vulnerable human soon began to drift across the plains, calling out to the most persistent and opportunistic scavengers of the wild. The silence was broken by a sound that every ranger fears, a high-pitched, mocking cackle that echoed across the green expanse. From behind the distant acacia trees, a clan of hyenas began to emerge. There were at least 10 of them, their spotted coats blending with the dry patches of the grass. They moved in a disorganized but terrifyingly effective formation, their eyes fixed intently on the man tied to the tree. A clan of hyenas does not fear a lone human, especially one who cannot move, and they began to circle the tree, closing the distance with predatory patience. Zuberi felt the cold grip of terror return. He struggled against the hemp ropes, but the fibers only bit deeper into his wrists. The gorilla, however, did not flinch. It remained seated until the lead member of the clan of hyenas was less than 5 meters away, baring its bone-crushing teeth. In a sudden explosion of movement, the gorilla rose to its full height. It let out a roar, so loud and resonant that it seemed to vibrate through the very earth beneath Zuberi's seat. This was a spectacular clash of biological worlds. A forest titan standing its ground on the open savanna. The clan of hyenas hesitated, their predatory confidence shaken by the sheer physical presence of the primate. To further assert its dominance, the gorilla reached out and gripped a sapling growing nearby. With a display of raw, effortless power, it uprooted the small tree and swung it through the air, creating a barrier of wood and leaves. It was using a tool, a weapon, to defend a member of a different species. The clan of hyenas darted back and forth, yipping in frustration, but they could not find a way past the wall of muscle and fur. The gorilla stood like an ancient statue of defiance, refusing to let the scavengers claim their prize. But even as the clan of hyenas began to retreat into the tall grass, a much larger and more dangerous shadow fell over the clearing. The true rulers of the savanna had been watching the commotion from the ridge. The atmosphere changed instantly as a pride of lions made their appearance. 3 large lionesses and a massive male with a dark mane moved with a grace that signaled absolute authority. Unlike the scavengers, a pride of lions is not easily intimidated by noise or posturing. They saw the gorilla as a rival and the man as a potential meal. The gorilla seemed to sense the escalating stakes. It knew that while it could fight off a few scavengers, it could not survive a prolonged battle against an entire pride of lions while anchored to a single spot. In a moment of incredible cognitive clarity and urgency, the gorilla turned back toward Zuberi. It did not use its teeth, which might have injured the man. Instead, it reached for the thick hemp ropes with its leathery, dexterous fingers. With a sudden, explosive jerk of its arms, the gorilla applied its 400-pound strength directly to the knots. The hemp fibers groaned and then snapped with the sound of a pistol shot. Zuberi fell forward, his limbs finally free. Though numb from the lack of circulation, the gorilla did not wait for him to recover. It let out a sharp grunt and nudged Zuberi's shoulder, gesturing toward the horizon, where the metallic glint of a ranger patrol vehicle was visible near a distant watering hole. As the pride of lions began their final low-crouched approach, the gorilla did something truly heroic. Instead of running away, it charged toward the pride of lions, beating its chest and throwing branches to create a thunderous distraction. This selfless act gave Zuberi the crucial seconds he needed. He scrambled to his feet, his muscles screaming in protest, and ran toward the distant vehicle. He didn't look back until he reached the safety of the truck, his heart nearly bursting. From the elevated seat of the vehicle, he saw the gorilla successfully break away from the confrontation, melting back into a thick grove of trees where the pride of lions would not follow. The rescue was complete, but the emotional impact of what had just happened was only beginning to sink in. Zuberi sat in the patrol vehicle for a long time, his hands shaking as he gripped the steering wheel. He had survived an impossible situation because of a choice he had made many years ago, a simple act of cutting a wire snare. Science often tells us that animals live purely by instinct. But this encounter suggested something much more profound. It proved that a gorilla possesses not only a long-term memory, but a moral compass that allows for gratitude and mercy across the species divide. This story is a powerful reminder that no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever truly lost. In the vast, often cruel cycles of the wild, a spark of compassion can return to save you when you least expect it. The gorilla had returned to the hidden corners of the forest, and Zuberi would return to his family, but the boundary between their two worlds had been forever blurred by an act of mutual salvation. It challenges our understanding of what it means to be wild versus civilized. When we choose to protect the natural world, we aren't just saving animals. We are preserving a system of hidden connections that might one day save us in return. Nature has a way of balancing the scales. Zuberi's life was a gift paid back in full by a giant who remembered a helping hand. As you go about your day, remember that the energy you put into the world often finds its way back to you in the most extraordinary ways. Thank you for joining us for this incredible journey into the heart of the savanna. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs a reminder of the power of kindness. Be sure to stay tuned and watch our next video for more unbelievable encounters from the natural world that will change the way you see the planet.